Welcome, welcome. All right, and we are live on YouTube for those who are joining us for a toe dipping in their dipping their toes in the little live stream with us, and they're going to see how they feel. Welcome. Oh, turn that down. Welcome, everyone. Hello, hello. All right. All right. And of course, I got to pull this all together. Like 3 screens going. Hi, guys. How is everybody? Good to see you guys all joining in. Welcome. So tonight is a good topic because I just love talking about this, so I'm gonna. And I know you guys will love it too. So let's get started here. All right. And we are, all right, we are live. Welcome everybody to the Truth Tribe. I am Dawn Thompson. Welcome all the newbies and welcome all my veterans who have been here with me for years. Thank you guys for being here. As you all know, I will start every call to remind you how exactly perfect you are right now in this now moment. Even though stuff is so insanely stupid and crazy, there's nothing wrong with you. We all came here. We know this. It's what the Truth Tribe is about, living our truest purpose. And so tonight it's going to be a good topic because we're there. So know that I love you all very much. And if you all know, I've switched the Truth Tribe to your hotspots. I talk on those on a topic and I let you know where it sits in your own chart. So if you have your birth chart, those of you who work with me privately, you have a printed version. Those of you who have worked with me online or in my VIP courses, you all have printed as well as maybe digital when you took the Zodiac wheel as your medicine wheel. If you're behind and you can't find it, just go get the Zodiac wheel as your medicine wheel on my website, ideserveitnow.com. And you can restart and remember where it is. You can print it again. Okay. So tonight's featured hotspot is on purpose, and that purpose, how it affects your health, wealth, and love. But I wanted to start because I get asked a lot with people struggling with like, wow, how do you do this? I'm going to touch on both business, corporate, and personal because I get asked a lot, like, what do you do, Dawn? And I'm like, okay, I coach relationships from the bedroom to the boardroom or the boardroom or the bedroom, right? And why do I do that? Because the boardroom, your job, your external life, your reality, whatever you're going to stand in, I use boardroom as just an external, okay, is affected by your internal or the bedrooms in your head that affect the bedrooms in your home. And then you see it in your physical reality. So it doesn't matter which direction you go, bedroom to boardroom, or I can see in the boardroom what's being affected by the bedroom. Okay. And so when we talk about astrology and I mix it in, it's just my clever way to astrology just makes it faster to see where you get stuck easily by looking at your hotspots. Like I can see it in 2 seconds and I know exactly where you're stuck. So people ask this all the time and I'm like, well, to me, it's just stupid. It's being stupid that we're not willing to go and look, okay, I don't have to know what this says, Dawn, but if you make it super easy, how do I know why I'm stuck right now? I mean, are you stuck in this topic? Yep, because that's uncomfortable for you. That's your insecurity, right? So tonight's topic, are you living a spiritual lie? Ooh, right? Because it's a big one. And spirituality has become so hijacked, right? I truly don't believe we even know like why we want to be spiritual or what it even means to us anymore. And so spirituality is not some woo-woo. It's become that, right? And for a long time it was. It's not some woo-woo or replacement for God. Okay. It's self-awareness. But instead of it being self-awareness, we're obsessed with others and we want to be aware of them and what's wrong with them. And we're not changing a whole lot. And so spirituality is now getting hijacked and becoming too watered down as well. And I hear it all the time. I'm spiritual. I'm not religious. But you're not self-aware. So there's that, right? Like that's a big deal to me because I'm trying to get people to wake up. Or you think you need crystals and you need sage and you need healing or an exorcism or whatever, right? Like, I mean, you guys have to start listening to this. Spirituality has nothing to do with any of this shit, even though it's awesome. And I have crystals and I have sage and I have all of it. We have it all. There's nothing wrong with it. It actually enhances you. But using them as making you avoid the most important thing, which is yourself. And that's what spirituality really is. So the moment you catch yourself when you're judging someone is the moment you become attached to the external reality you think they should be. And all it's doing is revealing an insecurity that we don't want to see, right? So judgment, my friends, is the fastest awareness of your personal, or it's like your personal self-awareness tool. Okay. So if I can't give it to you that simple, I'm going to give you tonight and make it a little bit more, visual for you, right? Because we are in such a huge information overload, and you all are feeling this, right? I mean, we are in an information overload that I'm overloaded. And now it's becoming too much, and it's causing us to become stagnant, and it's causing a lot of us to feel stuck. Like stuckness, is that even a word, stuckness, right? Well, you just feel like you're in this quicksand, feeling like you don't even know what decisions to make, what to focus on, where to go first. There's just so much. I get it. It's why I've condensed astrology down to a self-awareness tool. So you could just see if you fixed, healed, paid attention to, put energy into those 4 spots of your life would freaking change like that. And so I'm not backing down. I spent 20 plus years, probably more, but 20 of the heavy ones, right? In corporate America, corporate training, and EQ, emotional quotient, right? Or the IQ, intelligence were big topics. Like, do you have an IQ? What is your IQ? How smart are you? And these were big topics. And how emotionally, qualified are you? Since we weren't ready to accept astrology yet, right? If we only knew, right, it would have been so much simpler. And so screw EQ, screw IQ. Your true power lies in your SI, your spiritual intelligence. And spiritual is, remind ourselves, self-awareness, right? You're aware, your self-intelligence. And most people are freaking suck at their self-intelligence. What happens to people when they're on information overload? Just think about it. And there's like so many things they don't know what to pick. Think about a kid. They have so much to do. They start getting chaotic. Do you think they're in their hearts? There's no freaking way, right? This is where your spiritual intelligence comes in, okay? And what it looks like in real life, it looks like passion. Are you passionate about your marriage? I mean, just turned on and yes, and lustful and like excited about it. Are you passionate about your job? And I mean, turned on, like you can't wait to get there. Your kids, your health, your money, the list can go on. Health, wealth, and love, right? Do you have passion for them? So I want to start because I want to share a story of where this 20-year ago story comes from, right? And so I want to share a personal share on passion and the story of me and Tony Robbins, and how Tony and I Robbins came to be. So I attended a Tony Robbins event when Tony kind of was one of the only self-help gurus out there at the time. And there were more, but he was really big, right? So this was like 21 years ago. And he showed us how to choose the life we wanted, right? But he did it in 4 hours before we even understood our poor program tapes that I teach and your iPod and all that, and the stories in our heads that are, the bedrooms in our heads that are triggering us and tripping us up. And so in 4 hours of this 3-day event, right, we walked on a bed of fire the first evening before the other 2 days even started taking place. So what was fascinating about it was, wow, I just changed my mind and my beliefs in 4 hours. And he didn't even talk about it. He just poked us. He prodded us. He showed us what we were doing, right? And in 4 hours, I literally walked 13 feet across a bed of hot coals that were on fire. No burns, no nothing. And I was like, oh, I'm the king of the world. Right? You don't even get it. You're like, wow, I'm blown away. I was blown away with myself. And so when you get into these moments of going, where does passion get into this story, Dawn? So I'll never forget it, because I was one of his examples, right? Of living a lie in my heart. And he asked for volunteers, so I raised my hand, you guys, right? Like, and my first mistake, it was like, oh my God, why did I do this? Why? Because I was on like the mega screen for 3,000 people to watch the interaction. I don't know why my brain didn't trigger that, right? And so my question for him was, how can I take back my control? Oh my God, this sent the whole thing, everyone went crazy because this is what he said. We don't have control. We don't have control, Dawn. And he's like directly talking to me. And then he asked the whole audience, hey, do we have control? Right. And they were, they're like all in unison, no. And I was so freaking embarrassed standing there. I was like this tiny little person. And he said, you've lost passion. And he's staring me in the eyes. He's staring me down. And as he stared at me and said it, he then shifted his eyes to my now ex-husband, who's standing next to me, was attending with two other business managers for the company I was at the time. And he spoke to me in language, right? But he stared at him while he explained my lack of passion in my life. And he meant it in a phrase that I use with all of you daily. He was basically saying how you do any one thing is how you do everything. And so I stood there, and I had just had my second child just a few months earlier. So I was, I was exhausted. I'd still had overweight as a woman. I felt like just not happy with myself. I was in a troubled marriage at that time, thinking this would help. My career was in misery. And his reply was, you don't have a control problem. You have a passion block. You're not happy because you've lost your mojo and you aren't in your heart full of passion for your life. And then he shifted his focus. He's talking to me the whole time. Then he shifted his focus from my ex-husband. And then he focused back to me and said, it's time to figure out what brings you passion and lights you up, and everything will change and you won't need to control it. And I was just shocked because I had no idea how powerful this moment would be, right? So needless to say, 1 year later, I started my I Deserve It company, the I Deserve It Center for consulting and training. And then another year later, I overheard my daughter in the other room playing with her dad and said, how come mommy never laughs? I mean, that was like the biggest stab in the heart. And so then 6 months later after that, I filed for divorce and I never looked back. So I want you all to understand what's happening on the planet right now when there's so much overload of information. One word, and it associates with one of these, with your purpose on your chart, but one word is passion. And if you don't know where that part of your life brings you joy, start with one of them: health, wealth, love. I don't know which one, because they all are. How you do one is how you do all of them. Right? Are all my challenges gone? Of course not. They're never going to be gone for you guys either. But I'm stronger and I attack things faster. And with one thing in mind, if it's not my passion and it doesn't make me laugh or smile, I'm out. And I used to be slower at that. Now I'm like, this is not working. Life is too short. With so much information overload, we have become label makers, deciding what's wrong with us and why we can't do something. And if we're not doing something, or if we don't eat something, or, if we're not that kind of in a partnership that looks a certain way, and that we're not okay. And everyone is afraid to live with passion and joy because everyone's miserable. I better not be too happy. More importantly, they're afraid to speak their passion to other people because other people are so freaking miserable. Who gives a shit? If it excites your heart, it's the right thing or the right choice to make. If it's not, it's called spiritual bypassing. And that's the spiritual lie. Everyone's like, I'm so spiritual. No, you're not. So the big topic now in the world, everybody talks about spirituality, right? But I see so much spiritual bypassing happening all day long, right? Stop spiritual bypassing, right? What is spirituality? It's truth, right? I've been teaching this for so damn long. I always wondered, I'm like, are we ever going to get there to wake people up? And I'm like, now they moved to the word spiritual. It's truth. It's truth about you. self-awareness, not woo-woo or a different version of God. God is inside of you, but we are trying so hard to explain who we are, and we're not really in sync with it truly on the inside. Okay. And so if you need to explain to others about your psychic abilities and your intuition, and you have to tell everybody that your crystals give you superpowers, like I gotta have more, your pendulum knows everything. You want to teach health protocols to people who don't want them, your financial tips and how much you have, how much money you have and what you own and your relationships, your love life, you want to share with everyone. If you're selling yourself and your labels about them, you are not in flow or in love. You are in protection to avoid self-connection. Please hear me. When you're trying to sell yourself to other people about how great your life is, you're in protection to avoid self-connection. And when you are tapping inside to self-awareness, that's love. Your sonar is off the charts to love. You cannot avoid attracting all these things. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to, remember, I've taught you this, ebb and flow. You're going to have down periods. We're all like, well, I'm never up. And that one little moment you're up, you're obsessed with it. And then when you go back down again, you think it will always be there. It won't. But if you don't know what your pain points are, which are your hot spots, as I always refer to them, you will constantly be the magnet of this under the table passive pain. You just slide it in there to people. It's passive aggression. It's passively saying you don't have it. If you don't look at these pain points or hot spots in your birth chart or your parenting points, same thing, your Zodiac Wheels of Medicine Wheel, mini course. If you don't have it, you need to have it now. It's so small. Go get it on my website, or the IDI Academy, which tells you exactly where your parents' pain points are. And I find this so fascinating. Clients who come to me for like, they haven't been to me in a while, and they're like, I really want to kind of reset some things. And I pull them out and they're like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. I'm like, you have a manual, excuse me, with all this stuff in it. And I find it fascinating that we don't use it to power up. We use it for a moment and then we go dipping down, and when we're high and then we dip down again and we forget to just get the tools that I've made so freaking easy. You won't attract what you want, my friend. And when you're attracting these pain points only because you're afraid of them and you're avoiding them and you won't look at yourself, self-awareness, you will not attract what you want. And honestly, you're completely fucked. You're attracting codependency. You're attracting more lessons to get you to learn it. You're attracting illness. You're attracting arguments. You're attracting you, but you're blaming them. That's what no passion in your life and no truth looks like. Pain points or hotspots, whatever the freaking thing you want to call them, go for it. Call them boulders. It all works. So when you're spiritually intelligent, you know that you don't need a book, a box, or a bossy middleman to tell you how to live. You are living genuinely Christ consciousness inside of you. You're not interested in a book or a guru to give answers to you outside of yourself, right? Remember, my friends, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, Krishna, whoever your person is, Kali, to name a few, Saint Germain, I've listed them. Jesus ain't coming to save your dumb ass. Jesus came to teach you how to save your own ass. And I am now giving you a tool that he even used to save you. You have a tool. He said 12 consciousness, 12 aspects of me, the 12 disciples. We talked about this several calls ago. 12 parts of your personality, master them all because they're all you. And when you're lit up, you're living Christ consciousness like a ascended master. I don't know how to break this to you anymore. He ain't going to save you. And you're being a dumbass if you think he is. Do I love him? Yes. Do I think it was a human being that came at a really shitty time that he had to do all this when he had no help? Pretty amazing. But that's the lesson. You're here to learn to master your own self. Okay? Learning self-awareness is mastery of all your shit and all your shininess. Both. Okay? What is shit? It's your hot spots. They don't stay shitty, but people will avoid them at all cost. They are your hot spots, and you will feel like shit till you master them. It will be uncomfortable, and they're going to push your buttons because your insecurities sit there. But mastering them is what lights up your passions. It lights you up. You become so passionate, like, I got it. And your shiny self will feel easy, right? If you're only focusing on the shiny part of you, which most people do, right? They focus on the part of their chart that's easy. Maybe Venus sits there, maybe your sun sits there. There's all these different parts, and we're not going to get into that tonight, but we focus on the easy parts. And so we're like, this feels good to me. And so it's going to feel easy, and you'll gravitate to that, right? But then when your insecurities come up, you'll always go to the easier stuff. But you're here mastering your awareness of your hotspots. When you do that, right, you will create spiritual intelligence that is off the freaking charts, and you will shine, and you will send out this beautiful sonar from yourself that's just confident. You know that you could get wonky in those areas, but they won't take you down anymore. Okay. So if you are not confident in it, you will keep looking externally for reasons for your weak spots, right? You know where you have them, but specifically where are they for you specific? Okay. So now we're going to go in like a 4-week series. We've touched on the 4. I'm going to keep touching on them, just repeating it, different topics, because they all affect different things, multiple versions. But tonight's the 4th one that I always talk on. There's a 5th one. There's a 6th one. You need the advanced classes you need me if you want to go into, again, because I teach astrology in a way that I want you to use it to master you and to master your Christ consciousness. The mastery of all 12 and on steroids is the DMT method. Again, those of you can already sign up for Denver. There is only 20 seats. I am limiting that course and keeping it tight. So if you or anyone wants to go, you might grab your seat now. Just go onto my website, go to the DMT method, and you will be able to sign up for it and grab your seat, because I will shut the registration down after 20. So let's talk about tonight's hotspot and why we run away from it. So those of you who have your charts, I always ask you guys from this point forward, bring your chart. If you have it, you can kind of follow along. You don't need it for tonight's class, and I will pull up a picture for you guys to follow if you don't have your chart, and you can go, yep, that's me. Yep, you'll even know probably before you even have your chart, because we all know. And so tonight's hot tip topic is your North Node. And what is the North Node? It is not a planet. It is not an asteroid. It is actually 2 spots on the moon. The north coordinates of the moon and the south coordinates of the moon. And so we call it the North Node and the South Node. We're going to talk about the North Node tonight because it's your life purpose or your reason that you came to fulfill that lesson on the earth plane when you were born. The North Node in astrology represents your soul's path forward, where you're going. And with all this chaos going around, it's really good to know I got to keep going that way. It doesn't make sense. Today's not feeling good. I had a bad day, but I'm going that way. Okay. It's uncharted territory typically for most people. It guides you toward growth and evolution. Unlike the South Node, okay, which shows you where you've come from. It's your past lives. It's what it's easy for you. And the lessons that you've already learned that you brought in from past lives. That's why that category where it sits is a little easier for you. So the North Node encourages you always to take the high road and learn. So I want you to think about the North Node as the leaves of the tree, okay? And down here on the opposite end of your chart is the South Node. And this would be the roots of the tree. The North Node looks like headphones, like a little horseshoe, but it's the headphones version. The South Node looks like a horseshoe. So here's your horseshoe of roots. Here's your North Node headphones, and those are the leaves of the tree. Now, guys, this is how basic you make it. Wouldn't you like to grow leaves on your tree, or do you want a crappy old shitty, Charlie Brown tree with no leaves and nothing on it? The goal is to grow a thick tree. Okay. And so if you only do what you know and what you're comfortable with, you're going to water the roots. You're going to stay over there. I'm going to take care of this side. It's real good. You're going to get root rot. Your tree's going to fall over. Right. And most people, when they end up at my door, I've been to everybody, Dawn. I've been to therapists and psychiatry and psychologists and counseling and therapists and drugs and meds, and nothing works. And you know why? They've been watering the roots. They have not focused on their purpose. Their tree fell over and they don't know what the hell they're doing on the planet. And we fix it within minutes. Why? Because especially North Node, right, is your mission to your life purpose. You are on a mission to that direction. And you can complete this lesson that you and God made a deal with. You said, hey, God, I want to do this. You got to do this. You got to learn better. I don't want to do it. I'm better at the South Node. You're going to learn that. You're born. You don't have a choice. So you can complete the lesson at 9 right now or at 90. There's no rules. And I really don't give a shit when you do it. I'm just telling you why it gets uncomfortable, because we avoid it because you have to learn it. All right. And so a good example is when you look at your North Node, go find out. Remember, we don't care what sign it's in. We don't care about any of that. That's not what Truth Tribe's about. That's the Zodiac Wheels Your Medicine Wheel class or the DMT method course. Okay. Those will take you advanced. Right now, I just want to know what category, right? What category does your North Node sit in? My North Node sits in my 9th house of beliefs, higher education, teaching, printing, publishing, doctrines, information, guru, right? Spirituality. So there was a time, absolutely, right, when there wasn't a chance in hell I was going to write a book, right? And now I've written 6. The first one was a manual, then it went to books, then journals, right? You have to understand you don't have to do it the way everybody does it out in the world, because that's looking outside of you. In that category where your North Node sits, I'm going to pull up a picture for you, and you can go and look, and you're going to understand it a little bit more. But I want you guys to understand, I didn't do my North Node like everybody else did either. Most of my books have all been dictated verbally, and then I hand them off to the editor, and then they make it easy to digest and readable for all of your lovely faces, right? But you still have to work on that, right? Complaining about that category or fulfilling it in some way. So simply Google the category or that slice of the chart. Someone said theirs is in the 10th house. I'm going to pull them all up for you here. I don't know why I'm having a little scratchy voice. And see all the characteristics that it holds, right? Find the one that you need to fulfill it and grow leaves on your tree in that category. Growth is about, it's not about running away, my friends, right? Because with second I stopped running away from teaching the masses and writing and giving you all this downloaded knowledge, right? Which I now love. Once I ran straight into it, right? That's what you're all here to learn tonight. Once you do it, right, in a way that creates full passion and the way you love doing it, you will grow peaches and maybe some bananas and plums, and you're going to have this fruitful tree of life. Now, if you focus on your shit and you keep avoiding it and you keep saying, it's all that out there that's, it's not fulfilling me, right? This hotspot will even feel more miserable to you. And that's uncomfortable. I'm going to share a screen with you guys real quick. I want you guys to see this. Maybe, maybe not. Let me see. Oh, there it is. Sorry about that. Sometimes I can't find them. Okay. I'm going to share a screen so you guys can see this. Okay. And it's in general. And so I can see that, I'm going to go tap into the Q&A and I'm going to tap into the planets in a minute, but I want to remind you guys, when you're looking at your North Node, I put my chart up here. It's smaller and it's tiny, I know, but it's up here. When you're looking at the North Node in your chart, right, it's going to be equal and opposite on the 2 wheels. So here's my North Node in the 9th house. And if I come over here and go, oh, it's about teaching people faith and teaching them knowledge, that's a short version. Right? So that house is a big deal to me. Higher education. I hated school because it wasn't what I wanted to learn. But once I found a passion for what I loved, guess what I do all day long? Right? When you go over here and you go, oh, travel. I do like to travel to certain places. I love learning new wisdom and philosophies and higher education and religion. I find it so fascinating. It's why I bring up Jesus, because it's stupid. Religion is as a box. They go to find philosophies that fill your soul, learning, ethics. This is also the printing publishing house. Oh, I was like, all right, I'll write a book. Right. And so if you start looking at it from that perspective, you'll understand the difference. If you've got, I'm going to go tap all these, you guys, and I'll pull it back up again in Q&A, but I want you to understand wherever that little blue horseshoe is, that's the area of your life that you're here to fulfill. It doesn't mean, oh my God, I got to change my career. I got to change. No, 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 no. It's just something you have to master and fulfill. I've seen, children who pass away and their parents like, I don't understand. I ask them, did they do this when I saw their chart? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, they fulfilled their contract with God. So we have to let people do it, whether they're 9 or 99. Okay. But this is where I want you to, if you don't have your chart, that's okay. Go pick. What is my weak spot? What do I avoid where I have the most challenges? And I guarantee you, it's one of the hot spots of the 4 we talked about. It's going to sit on your birth chart in one of those topics. Everybody does it. When I was in corporate America and I didn't do hotspots with them, I'd ask them to pick and I'd say, pick the top 3 or 4. And literally then I could pull up their chart and there they sat. They all knew. They knew where they had weak spots. Okay. And so what's fascinating about all of this is that if we can start, and oh, cool, you guys are giving me so many good, you guys are bringing houses and signs in. So I'll finish those in Q&A, I promise. So I want you guys to start paying attention to, we have to stop focusing on planets and astrology and woo-woo and spirituality, when spirituality means self-awareness. Know thyself, know thy truth. Your chart, your reality looks nothing like anybody else. I've seen thousands of charts. I've done thousands of readings. I do private readings, right? And people reach out to me and they're like, well, I'm a twin. The twins don't even have the same charts. Isn't that crazy? Minutes apart, it changes. Okay, so everybody repeat after me. I teleport into my dream reality now. Clap 3 times. We're going there, my friends. There's no reason we should let these things that we chose on our charts block us. They're actually there to empower us. Okay, real quick. There's a real big planetary update that's happening, but it's just a couple of signs I'm going to talk about. But it's so intense, you're going to feel it. So I want you guys to be prepared and go like, Dawn didn't tell me. Well, I'm telling you, and I'm going to tell you in my way. So on Friday, okay, so 4th of July is Thursday, so y'all be partying and having a good time. There's a new moon in the sign of Cancer. So where it's at 14 degrees. So wherever Cancer sits in your chart, go look at Cancer and look at the category you may feel that new moon in. Now, new moons, remember, Cancer rules mother, nurturing, security, home. But new moons are all about planting. They're for new beginnings, right? It's a new start. So start a new business, start a new idea, start a new plan, start a new, way you're going to live, whatever, the health plan, all are good for this. Okay. And looking inward is very catharsis for clarity right now. Since this new moon is in Cancer, it's going to push us to get super acquainted and super aware and more aware within our emotions, right? Because Cancer is the sign that the moon rules Cancer. Cancer is the moon sign. Okay. So it's going to get us a little moody. And so it's going to pull us inwards. I want you to honor your intuition, honor your feelings, honor your emotions, because it's going to say, what brings you passion? Are you laughing? Do you feel good? Are you fucking pissed off and sad and angry all the time? Kind of suggests you probably shouldn't do that. And so what I'm sharing with you all is whatever the moon brings into that house, open up to it and ask, what can I do to find passion there? Because all houses deserve passion. I'm just giving you one at a time. So now next, that's a full moon. It's very simple. It's very loving, but it might get you emotional in that category where Cancer sits at 14 degrees. Okay. Then we're going to look at Pisces, wherever Pisces sits in your chart. Okay. It's a new moon, my friends. Sorry. New moon, new start, new beginning, fresh loveliness going on. But moons can get us emotional, right? If you're, so next I want you to look at the sign of Pisces. Okay. So if you know your chart, look where Pisces, what house this is going to affect. This is a little longer because this is a real doozy here. Okay. So Saturn and Neptune are going retrograde together. Saturn did already, and a little while ago, I think last week or something. I don't remember the dates. But now Neptune in a few days before this new moon on Friday. Now they're both, at retrograde, Mercury retrograde. They're not technically going backwards, but that feels like they're pulling us backwards, right? And so with Saturn moving through Pisces, which rules emotions and feelings and beliefs and intuition or our psychic ability, but it also rules self-sacrificing and all these types of behaviors that we don't want to admit to, drugs, confusion, imprisonment, mental imprisonment, self-imprisonment, when we put ourselves in a jail. So that area, I want you to focus on, where does Pisces sit in your chart? Like what house, what category does it affect? Okay. And Saturn is going to move through Pisces, but it's going to stay in there through 2026, February of 2026. So right at the beginning. Okay. But it's about dissolving. It's about gravity. It's about laying our foundation for our higher selves, because Pisces rules higher self and Saturn is about foundation. And I've taught you guys this: foundation, security, lay the cement, right? And so what happens is it's going to ask us to go find your higher self and find that intuition. What is your passionate spirit? And let's bring it down to the ground and fulfill it through that North Node, demanding us to become our own lighthouses. It's going to demand you to shine light from within. And when it's retrograde, it kind of pulls the covers back on you, on the illusions that you're living, of your truths that you're avoiding. And it's going to happen in that house for you. So does Neptune, because Neptune, right? Neptune is the god of the ocean. So both of these, Neptune and Saturn, are in Pisces. So they're going to ask you to take a look back at the past one last time. And you have to give into the energy, like shining and creative aspects of your life. This is why I'm asking you to open up to passion. If you have any planets, especially in your chart, you can just look at a planet and there's a number next to it that says 28 to 9 or 0 degrees. You're going to feel this push to clarity in your life even more intense. It's just going to happen. You don't even know what planet, what sign, it doesn't matter. I'm telling you, it will push it, because Neptune's sitting at 29 degrees, the last degrees of Pisces. So this is a new beginning of life on Earth. And when it's at the last degrees, it's going to make you look backwards and make sure all that stuff that you cleared, Neptune being and Pisces being self-sacrificing, right? It's going to go, are you done with that? You done with that being a pansy, self-sacrificing doormat for everybody? It's asking you. So this new beginning, it's saying, I'm giving you one last chance to finish up this dismantling and outdated structures for yourself and humanity. Okay. Until February of 2026. All right. So you can have you're going to have some work to do on this. You cannot escape it. So don't say, Dawn didn't tell me, why is my life a miserable? It's not miserable. It's saying, let it go. You don't need that shit anymore. Okay. If you have any planets aspecting that 29 degrees of Neptune, there's going to be a little bit of disruption in that category of your life. So just look at your chart, look at the category it represents, and see if your chart, right, and Pisces could be dissolving right now in that area. It sits literally at 29 degrees, squaring 29 degrees of my actual Saturn. It's been literally dismantling my entire company in a good way. Like I've been like, okay, I have to let that go. I didn't want to. It took so hard to build it. I'm like, okay, let it go. And I'm putting a new thing there. And then putting a new thing. I have all these new things coming for everybody. We're going to start a VIP elite group because everybody wants this stuff and I can't get into it too deep on Truth Tribe, right? So all these new projects are coming in. I got some mini, books on this stuff coming, ebooks, like all these cool things, but I can't do that when I'm doing all the old. And I was very upset the old was dismantling in my career. And then I was like, oh, so you have to have that mindset, the creative, right? There's something that's going to dissolve or clear out, as I said, that's from earlier where you've been feeling stuck. Okay. So where you're feeling like you're losing your footing, you don't feel solid a little bit, it's not as secure as it used to be. This is asking you again, let it go. It's seeing that there's an end of an old reality for you in that area and just becoming aware of it rather than panic and just let it fall away. And when it does, you go, what would my passion? Dawn said, what would it, if I made it me happy and brought my passion, what would that be instead? Allow that to be born. Push it into your passion. Okay. So the tip is for these things, because it's a water and it's earth and they're trying to come together, nature, specifically bare feet and earthing. I teach you guys about earthing all the time. Okay. So sit by a tree, put your feet in the dirt. I put my feet in the grass almost every day, even here in Arizona where it's super hot. You're like, I can't believe you go outside. Oh, I do it because I want to be grounded. Breath work, if you can do it, if you're not, I've never done it before, maybe do it supervised. It's a little bit, or you can slow down and do DMT breathing that I've taught you, which is 9 in, 9 hold, 9 out, and do it for just a few minutes every day, right? But I think it's the most tangible solution right now is your feet in the earth that calm you. So the next couple of months could be like in the world. And so you guys don't get into this again, information overload. I'm telling you what Pisces and Saturn in Neptune, or Neptune and Saturn in the sign of Pisces, what they could bring up. And they're going to show us pictures of the illusions that we've been living through, even our own stupid fucking illusions. And people do it all the time. They come to me like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, okay, you want to avoid it? You do you, boo boo. I don't care anymore. Because the external, you're all watching it fall apart. The government, the schools, the money, everything. So the deceptions, the illusions, because they're both of these planets are in Pisces and now they're both going retrograde in 2 days. Pisces rules water. It rules issues around water, oceans, toxicity, chemicals. It rules drugs, it rules pharmaceuticals. That's all coming up right now. Movies, it rules film, it rules toxicity of lies. The blood, it rules immune systems, it rules poisons. So it is really creating awareness around the end of the illusions. So that's why it's at 29 degrees, the end. And it's turning one back time to look back. So there's this sense of like disillusionment. And we look backwards like, oh no, it can't be like that. It is freaking like that. And it's coming in so the veils can fall away so you can look back and go, oh my gosh, what do you want to create in your soul and your lighthouse when everyone else is overloaded with all this disillusionment information? What are you going to do and go in and master you? Okay, that's the goal. You guys are doing awesome. I will touch on every single one of these houses or your signs in just a second. Everybody tap into your chest right here. I am courage. I am love. I am truth. I know courage. I know love. I know truth. Tap it into that nervous system. If you have to, if you're having anxiety, I did it. I was having anxiety today and I don't know why. So I was tapping all day like, I have courage. I have love. I am truth. I know this, right? So again, I'm going to go tap on some of these north nodes that you guys shared with me in these houses, but please feel free to share who's feeling stuck. I have felt it for the last 2 months, probably month most of all. Who's feeling stuck or like in a void, like you are unable to move. I have been heavily in that space, right? So we have someone here with they're saying, okay, we have their north node is in the 10th house, in their career house. So what does that say? It's also the house of prestige, right? It's also the house of your, second, sorry about that. I lost you guys for a second. Okay, there it is. It's also the house of long-term goals, status, your public image, men, fathers, experts, fame. So you could be running away from being famous, right? And you don't even know it yet. So this is really great for you to start looking at it. Again, it's a really big deal. Okay. You guys want me to pull up, you should all have these wheels. Let's see. The next one is, I'm a Capricorn, North Node in the 6th house, right? So the 6th house is knowledge, right? It is knowledge, but it's also the house of health. So the 6th house is physical health, fitness, analytics, nature, how you work, being of service. So you also have to remember not to neglect serving yourself, because when it's in the North house, the 12th house can get very spiritual, right? And very self-sabotaging and self-sacrificing. So you have to be careful with those roots, that you don't overgive and overgive and overgive, and you're not giving just the limited amount. So that North Node in Capricorn is always trying to help and create things. But the North Node is more so than anything, take care of your health in the 6th house. I tell everybody when they have that, you're here to liberate people and show them a template in Capricorn. Okay. Next one, North Node in the 8th house. Wow, look at that one. So again, when it comes to the 8th house, you have it on, this has the house of sex. So it doesn't mean having sex, but the 8th house is sex, death, and regeneration. It's intimacy. How well do you let yourself get close to people? Shared finances, right? Inheritances, taxes, loans, estates, people with a lot of like brokers and real estate people tend to have stuff in here because they work with other people's money. They make money on it and then they get money back, right? This could be death, that kind of stuff. It's also is kind of like your kind of secrets. It's the Scorpio house, right? And so when you have a karma of North Node in the 8th house, you have to work on not hiding your secrets and being, that's what the North Node's probably asking you to do, is to be honest with yourself of what you're hiding from. Because it'll dive deep into you on that 8th house, right? All right, let's see. My North Node, it's in Pisces in the 8th house. Okay, so if you have a 29-degree Cancer for you, it's going to ask you to start, you're going to feel that. People are asking about Cancer. You'll feel that. You will feel that 29, that you're going to feel the Cancer new moon. And I'm talking about Cancer. I'm talking about Pisces. The Pisces 29 degrees will affect that Neptune and that Saturn, and they're pushing up into that 29 degrees sitting in Pisces. They're going to push that 29-degree Cancer for you and saying, quit mothering everybody and start mothering you. Guaranteed you'll feel it. All right. Then we got someone here saying Pisces, 11th house North Node. All right. Let's see. So when you have an 11th house North Node, this is also another one. You are here to participate in groups. Okay. Jen, I saw that you put that, the 11th house gets a little tricky because it's about the humanitarian. So we're here to be in groups. You should be having groups. You should be filling yourself into friends and social. You're very good at helping people, but the bigger piece is technology. What do you hope and wish for in your future, and not to get locked into your South Node? Because that South Node for you will be into just being romance and love and play and being childlike, and you're forgetting to be a leader to those around you. And so you have to not teach, you have to not prove, you have to not tell them how to do it. You have to walk forward and be it. And that's a different ball game. And when it comes to that, that's pretty, I mean, you like selling and being in public, so it's probably a gift for you. Some people don't like that. They don't like being the leaders or being on stage or having those kinds of things. That's not necessarily stage, but you definitely are here to help a lot of people with that 11th house North Node. Having the South Node in Cancer, your class on mother wounds stirred up some stuff and revealed to hear mother and sister wounds 1000%. So thank you for sharing this. Remember, I told you all that the North Node is where we need to grow leaves, and the South Node is where we water those roots so much that you hit that mother wound, because of, for her South Node is it's in Cancer, and Cancer rules mother. And we literally want to take care of mother. We want to be the mother. We're over mothering. Then the mother was probably so controlling. So we have to watch those things. And when you realize that's where you're sticking in your roots and you actually got a badass North Node to get to, you'll change direction. My friends, when you look at this, don't get overthinking. I'm teaching you simply the North Node. Like I said, if you take the Zodiac Wheel class, it's only like, I think it's 3 little mini 20-minute sessions. It's not very long, but it gets you to understand these 4 hotspots in your own. If you look at my chart and I pull it up for you, I think when I pulled it up to you, the North Node is down here in the 3rd house. This is 3rd house North Node, sitting small in my group and being in the safe little world and being on film because it's in Leo, which is being on stage. I can do this all day long till the cows come home. This is my limited, and we're going to move these maybe less and less, maybe to like every 2 weeks. I know you guys love them, and we're going to go advanced. And the reason I'm saying that is this is South Node for me, and this is all I used to do, one-on-one all the time, and it burnt me out, and my tree fell over. Then I wrote a book, and then I wrote 2 books, and I wrote 6 books. Then I produce these on, full events that we're doing so that you're learning all 12 houses at the same level. Like, what does this house mean to me? Blah, blah, blah. So that South Node doesn't go away. You don't stop mothering. You don't stop being a nurturer because you have a sweet heart and a sweet soul, Emily. Okay. That's a big deal. And so, I want to make sure you guys understand that we do not stop fulfilling that South Node for the person who was in North Node of Cap or Leo in your career house. South Node in Aquarius doesn't mean you stop doing that. You just have to be careful not letting that be your only water. And so I'm happy if any of you want to raise your hand, just bringing you on, and I can answer any further questions on these. Does that make sense, my friends? Are you getting this? Does that make sense? You're really just going, okay, that category of my life. Because for me, I was like doctrines and writing and beliefs. Like, I don't think I want to do that. Like, I don't want to write a book. I was horrified. And then I was like, but then I had no choice and I had to write it. And then I just turned it into a book. And then I was like, oh, that's what Drama Detox turned into, my first book. Okay. So you're cool with coming on? All right, let me grab you on here. All right. All right, I'm going to change your name for a minute. Let's see, where did you go? Okay, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Hi, I can hear you. So share with us, you have a North Node in the 10th house, which is career and status. And how does that feel to be famous? I mean, that's a North Node, that's your leaves, right?
Sure.
So does that make you, is that something that you like pull away from, like, oh my gosh, does that make you uncomfortable?
100%.
Is that crazy? I know it was just like same with me. So for you, instead of going, I gotta go get on stage and be famous and star in a movie tomorrow, how would you address that and share with everybody how you think you could do it in just small pieces?
Small pieces would be acknowledging and doing the research and doing the writing that I want to do, or editing I want to do. Anything on a smaller scale. Maybe it's a small interview, a one-on-one short exposure. That would be.
So you're a writer.
Feel as if
So
I'm
I mean, couldn't we agree if you're a writer and your North Node is in Leo and being, on stage or lighting up the world, could we not agree that you being a writer, you could end up being famous and having a bestseller one day?
Sure,
So see,
absolutely.
you did that so well. I'm going to do it small. I've written a couple books. I'm going to keep writing, and I don't know which one, but I know I have to keep doing something to light up the world.
Yes, it is, however, horrifyingly it seems mammoth to me and I'm stuttering over my words because even as you're speaking it, it makes me makes me shy away.
Does it?
And the funny part is that I am okay with it shining to those who matter. Well, it's letting you inside of my head.
Mm, hmm.
So by writing, and whether it's fiction or nonfiction, it's exposing to you how my brain thinks, which is a very scary thing for me. However, I need to just turn around and say, well, it is what it is, and maybe it'll serve somebody else. And that's why I'm here.
I love it. I love it. And now you know you can't get out of it. And so you have been doing it in small doses, wouldn't you say, with each book?
Yes.
I love
Yes.
it.
And I have a new moon in Cancer. This new moon in Cancer sits in my ninth house.
Which is writing,
Oh.
printing, publishing. And so you're going to start a new book. Yay, everybody, we're getting a new book from Miss Jill.
It said faith, and that's the faith and knowledge house. And I'm like, wait, whoa, whoa,
And it's
whoa.
the printing and publishing and teaching to the masses, right? It's giving information to the masses. And I'm assuming you're not going to get on stage like me and teach, 50 to 100 people. So I'm assuming this is a new beginning of, and it's in the sign of Cancer, which rules mothering and nurturing.
Yes. And I have a very good idea of the direction I'm supposed to be going in.
So you know exactly what it's going to kind of poke you to move along, right?
Yes, how I'm going to exactly approach it, I don't know, but I
You
have
don't need to
actually
know
been
that.
thinking about,
Yeah,
right. I have been thinking about it, and I figure I'm going to know what I'm supposed to know. Meanwhile, as long as I'm open to it and I've identified the general direction, everything will start to fall in place just because I'm open to it.
exactly.
Always have.
Perfect. I love it. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, you're welcome. All right. All right, my friends. Anybody else? I'm happy to bring you on if you guys want to let's see. Jill, I'm gonna have you stop your share. I don't know why I can't find you in here. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I don't know why you disappeared. Oh, that's why. Let's see. Jill, I can't get you. Yep. Huh. Well, Jill, if you could come back, because you are not going away. I know you,
I'm still here. You want me back?
oh, there you are. Sorry about, that was the wrong Jill. Okay.
I can mute me.
I'm gonna, I don't know why it won't let me. There we go. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I'm not the fastest when it comes to, I have so many screens open, so they're a little all over. Anybody else? I've got a couple people in the chat here asking me. Okay, let me see. So we're kind of coming on the end. I'm totally happy to stay over and answer any more questions. Anybody else want me to tap into your, you know, North Node? Again, don't get too deep into this, my friends. I really don't want you to get deep into this. This is how basic I need you all to stay is if that house and that category is what it is, and see how Jill's like, oh, it's about philosophy. And if you Googled what does the ninth house mean, because that's where the Cancer she was saying, and you Googled what does the ninth house mean in astrology, just that house that you have to focus on or whatever, you're like, oh, there's printing, publishing, the law, blah, 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 right? All these different things. And you go, oh, so maybe one out of those 30 things or three of them, they make sense. Now you know what direction to go. If that makes sense, right? Um, yes, ma'am. So can you explain more about the eighth house and the North Node? Jamie, can I allow you to speak? Is that okay? All right. So I'm gonna allow her to come on for the Q&A, and then we'll let me just change you here. Okay. Jamie, can you hear me?
Yes, hi Don.
How are you? Welcome.
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. So
Good.
the we're talking about the eighth house, correct? And it's emotions and change, correct? And it's always about intimacy because that's the sex house. So it's not about you, I gotta go have sex, but it's more about how well do you allow people intimately to connect to you, or like you keeping them at arm's length. Now, the death and regeneration aspect you can take to many levels, right? It could be actual death and you help people through, transitioning. It can be actual just learning how to let go yourself and or help other people. And
Mm.
or the regeneration is people could come to you and go, I'm a disaster. And you're like, I gotcha. And you help them see. And then we, regenerate them into a new reality. There's many versions of this house, as I said. So which one do you associate with most? Is it the financial? Is it, all of it? Is it change hard for you?
Change isn't hard for me. It's the vulnerability of
Mm-hmm.
letting go and exposing myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then financially. So it's all really linked together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm again trying to shift my career, and it's going to require me to let people in and
Mm-hmm.
totally expose just my pain and my wounds and my experience, and so it's quite terrifying.
And what would happen if you just did it small, right? And you did it with a group of 5 people or 3 people, right? And you just started like that. And you said, look, like I said, you're like, okay, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go start another VIP event and it's bigger and it's different, but I'm only gonna let 5 people in. And then it goes great. Oh, that's actually kind of fun. Let's do it to 10, right? Like, could you do just small and kind of start sharing how you can help people go from transitioning from pain to light?
The size doesn't matter, because it's I like freeze up, like I'm having a hard time even talking about it.
Yeah.
Um, and to me, like in sales, I've been in sales my entire life, and it's been easier for me to do cold calls than to sell to someone that I know. And so for me, I think I could talk to like 5,000 people
Hmm.
versus five, because I don't know, it's not as intimate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you're becoming vulnerable, and this is about you learning how to shift out what doesn't serve you and shift into what does serve you. And again, you can do it in many versions. Maybe that's not the version, right? Maybe it's the version of doing it a little less like that of one-on-one, and maybe letting people do some like one-on-one coaching with you and they get the true you there. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, I'm going through these things and you're like, okay, well, let's talk because me too, lady. You're like word man or whoever like needs that transition. And so my point is that why do you have to share it?
Why do I have to share what I've experienced?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a need for it.
And who need
And
who needs it?
I think I need it and they need it.
Who's they?
Um, Anybody, really, whether it's a kid or a man or a woman,
Oh,
it's
and what do they need?
to know that they're accepted and loved and perfect and amazing. Like,
So you're actually trying to say people actually deserve love, and there's a part of you that has to let go of not feeling lovable. And that's what this house is going to force you to do by teaching people that is letting go of being unlovable is not something that's real. It's a made up bullshit story we've all been told, and then we carry it. And that's the death and regeneration aspect of you, is learning that it is literally everybody deserves to be loved. And that's what you're trying to tell people.
right. Yes,
Getting
thank
into the nitty gritty and telling you don't want this, don't get, you know what I mean? We can lose ourselves. That's why I'm saying the North Node. Oh my God, I don't want to write a book and I can't got to edit it and I got to be smart about writing. And I was like, oh shit, I don't have to do all that.
Yeah, it seems like it's levels and really easy. And then when I try to share with people, it's like it's a foreign language and then it's
Why do you want to
complex.
share it with people? Let me ask you that.
Um, for connection and growth.
But
Why do I?
what do you want to share? Why do you want to share this experience with them? Like, what are you getting out of it?
Well, I'm hoping it would just expand people, and I just feel there's so many labels that people hang on to.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been a non-label person.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never gone with the masses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always over here by myself, and it's
Mm-hmm.
been a wonderful place. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, there's so much more, I think.
So Jamie, listen to that North Node. What does it want you to do to grow your, like, this is for you, love. This isn't what
Yeah.
you're walking in telling people what they need. And I want to know, what is this for you? I don't write
Oh,
books for you guys, just so you all know. I write them because I got this stuff in my head and I got to get them out and I hope you guys like them. And you know what I mean? That's how it works.
right.
So I want you to tell me what is in this when you're doing this. Is it you digging into secrets you don't like dealing with? And now if you tell people, are they going to judge you because those are secrets that you don't want to admit? Is it kind of like that?
I think maybe that's where it comes with the labeling and the
Mm-hmm.
judgment,
Mm-hmm.
which is so unnecessary. We're
Mm-hmm.
all just amazing. So it's
So
like,
I think it's you working through your labels of it and your judgment, because when it's passion for you, you don't give a shit. You'll call it sex, you'll call it, this can be the house of darkness, right? Whether it's
right.
abuse, whether it's whatever, when you can actually talk about it because it's your passion. And I want you to get there. Start talking about, like, if I'm passionate about this, I'm not going to talk from a wounded place. I'm going to talk from a light place of what is this? These aren't things you shouldn't hide from. These are things you should be, let's talk about them and make them different words, different labels, right? Let's call them other things.
Mm.
That's why I
Okay.
call them hotspots instead of, right, the planets that they really are at the beginning, because the planets don't matter. It's what part of you needs to have love. So I'm suckering you guys into doing these, you know what I mean? To looking at yourselves. And now you're like, oh. So you're going to just sucker them in with new words and new ways and going, you know what? We may labeled it that, but it's really just this.
Right.
So
So it's
find your way, find your passion so that you can go talk about it through passion instead of,
a wounded spot.
yes.
Okay. Awesome.
There's,
Thank you.
and there's your transformation, old to new.
Yeah. Thank you, Don.
You're welcome.
Love you.
Love you. All right, my friends. Get her off. Oh, let's see here. Second, Jimmy, let me get you off here first. And again, I get too many open. Where are you? There you are. Oops. Okay. Okay. All right, my friends. We went a little over. Did this help tonight? Did you guys see how we will fight it? Even Jamie. God bless you, Jamie, for sharing with us. I really appreciate that, because I don't think we understand. We make everything so complicated and overthinking. And instead, I want you to quit looking at your chart like it's a chart. I want you to look at it from the member in the Truth Tribe. The wheels I showed you tonight, I'll put them in the Truth Tribe wall. So if you are not a member of the new Truth Tribe Facebook, it's Truth Tribe with Don Thompson Facebook private group. It's free. You just got to go get in it. I will put this picture in there so that you all can download it and kind of do side by side. But again, if you're like, I just know where my North Node is, it's up in the number 9, go Google, what does 9 mean in astrology? The 9th house. So when you sit with these and you go, okay, it's always about you. That's the best answer I want you guys to hear from me tonight, okay? Before we close out. It's always about you doing you. It's not about you showing up and helping everybody else, i.e. like me writing books because I gotta get it out of my head, right? And there might be 25 books, 50 books in my future. I don't know, probably because I have so much in my head, right? So it's very important you look at this. I've seen so many people with North Node in their 7th house. Marriage is going to be difficult for them. Doesn't mean they won't get it. They have to work on it. So partnerships will be tough, but that's what you came to learn. It's the lesson that you're here to grow it. You can get married at 90, you can get married at 20. It doesn't matter. It's you learning how to grow leaves for you and be confident being you. All right. All right, my friends. So remember to hop into the Facebook Truth Tribe. I will pop in by tomorrow. I will add the screenshot of those wheels. Remember tonight we have covered all 4 major hotspots in your chart. So if you missed one of the last 4, go re-listen to the last 4. It went with Moon, then we went to Saturn, then we went to Chiron. Tonight we're on North Node. We're going to start back in the Moon when we come back around in a week. So remember, if you want to do a mini review of your hotspots, or you don't know what I'm talking about, but you want to see and you want to see your stuff and you want to start doing a self-awareness of your spiritual truth, go grab Zodiac Book class or send it to someone. It's $9. I've lowered it for that reason. Then keep it close to yourself, that chart, and literally look where your nature needs validation. Like tonight, Jill and you know, both of them really, I think Jamie and Jill just like truly were like, oh, I really don't want to do that. And they were fighting it, but they were like, oh, I can kind of do it that way. That's the validation we need. And we need to validate ourselves. It's okay to be you. And then step 2, when you need to start understanding your nurturing, which is elevating yourself, go to the IDI Academy. And then that IDI Academy, your iPod will match your hotspots, guarantee. And then step 4 is the DMT method, which again, we activate all 12 categories in your life. If you haven't done it live with me, I guarantee you want to be in Denver. Okay, October 19th. And again, by the next month, in the next 3 or 4 weeks, when this gets going, we're going to promote. They won't be there very long. So if you do want to start upping your game of all 12 categories, I would go grab your spot. If you really want to understand yourself. Okay. So again, remember all of you, I will clip out some of the Q&A. That way it's shorter, but if you want to re-listen to this after the live session, remember YouTube or Spotify, the links will be in the notes. So if you want to grab those classes to help you follow along, they will always be there. You guys, thank you so much. Awesome questions tonight. You guys are amazing. Thank you for joining me. I love you all very much and brightest blessings. You guys have a good night. Take care.